Greetings, grade 4. Hello, my name is teacher Vince, and I'm going to be your English language arts teacher for this school year, grade 4. Okay? So just a very quick background for those of you who do not know me. So again, my name is teacher Vince. I am the English language arts teacher. I have been the English language arts teacher from last school year, and I still will be the English language arts teacher for this school year. Okay? Now, just a few background about me. Number one is that I happen to be a very fun teacher, but at the same time a very strict one too. Okay, I tend to have a good, tend to prioritize, or I tend to value a good balance between being fun and at the same time being strict. So there are times wherein I would be as fun as you can possibly, I could possibly be, especially with this situation that we have right now. Okay, but I would still try to make things fun. Okay, things enjoyable as well for the school year. Okay, but at the same time, I happen to be a very strict teacher as well, especially when it comes to implementing of rules and procedures. Okay, so that's just a very quick background about me. Okay, also, I am a Jehovah's Witness. Okay, and that there are a few things that I do not celebrate, especially birthdays. So for those of you who would feel bad if I did not greet you for birthdays, it's because I do not celebrate birthdays. Okay, so those are just a few things about me. I hope you get to learn more about each other. Okay, but for now, in this video, I'll be discussing what are you going to be expecting for English language arts. What is it? An introduction of this subject. Okay, and the different procedures and rules that I'll be requiring. Okay, so let's jump right into the video. Okay, so English language arts intermediate level. Okay, for those of you who were students of Oak Ridge already from last school year, for this school year, the intermediate level is much tougher, much more leveled up English language arts. Okay, I just like to put it out there already, just right now, that it's going to be much tougher. It's going to be much more difficult compared to what you had when you were in primary. Okay, so I'll be discussing, these are the objectives of what I'm going to be discussing. Number one is I'm going to be giving you a brief background of what is ELA. I will discuss what it is. I'll also give you a general scope, an idea of what you're going to be expecting for ELA. How are you going to be graded, procedures, requirements, and then rules. Okay, so let's go for the very first question. What is ELA? So ELA, for those of you who do not know what ELA is, or for those of you who are just learning about ELA right now, okay, ELA is basically the study of the improvement of language, specifically the English language, through reading, writing, speaking, listening, and viewing. Okay, so it's not your typical English class wherein you're just being taught grammar. No, it's going to be much more leveled up. It's how you improve with the language. How are you going to incorporate these things, the things that you've studied, that you've learned in your grammar, in reading, in comprehending things, or when you're writing, or speaking, or you're listening, or in viewing. Okay, now the general scope, an idea of what you're going to be expecting for ELA. Now, due to the many limitations of what we have right now, I will only be discussing just these three things. We're going to be focusing on these three things, mainly the grammar, the writing, and the speaking parts. Now, yes, I did mention that ELA is made up of these things: reading, grammar, writing, speaking, listening, and viewing. But due to the limitations that we have, I will only be focusing on the grammar, the writing, and the speaking. Okay, grammar, writing, and the speaking. Okay, so for these things, let's go to grammar. What are the things that you're going to be expecting in grammar? For grammar class, we're going to be talking about or delving into the SVA rules, the subject verb agreement rules. What are these things? I'm going to be discussing them throughout the school year. Also, I'm going to be discussing how we're going to be using nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs properly, and especially using them in creating sentences. Okay? And then sentence patterns. Although sentence patterns, For you grade 4 students, you're not going to really have sentence patterns. This is usually just reserved for grade 5 and grade 6, okay? So that's what you're going to be having for grammar. For speaking, I'm going to be teaching you how to properly pronounce, enunciate, and articulate words. Okay? There is a difference between pronouncing words properly, enunciating it properly, and articulating the words properly. Okay? Speech exercises as well. This is a new thing for you guys. What are speech exercises? You will learn them. I will be discussing them in the school year. Also, voice modulation. Voice modulation, just to give you a very quick background about it, it's the ability to control your voice so that you could have a much richer and fuller voice. So, for example, this is my normal speaking voice, but if you have it modulated, it would sound like this. This is a modulated speaking voice. And in this speaking voice, it is much more controlled and it is much richer and fuller. So that's a quick background of what is a modulated voice. And I will be teaching you how to do it this school year as well. Okay? And then for writing class, for those of you who are students already in this of Oak Ridge class school year, you'll go through the 6+1 traits of writing again and the writing process. For those of you who are new, these are basically different tools, different things that you could use to improve your writing. Okay? The different compositions, writing compositions that you're going to be making for this school year, or the different written works would be, you'll be making poems, letters, narratives, stories, news articles, and not speeches. Not that last part. The speeches, no, you're not going to be creating speeches. That's for grade 6. Okay? So, poems, letters, narratives, stories, and news articles. That's what you guys are going to be doing. Okay? Now, typical question. Sir, is this graded? Okay. Yes. For most of what I'm going to be giving you guys, most of the activities that you're going to be doing, they are graded. Although, I will not be, there are some that I will, what do you call this? There are some that I will indicate that are not graded. Okay? Just some. Not all. Okay? So, how are you going to be graded? For grading, it's going to be made up of 3 things. Exam, your written works, and your performances. Exam, that's 20%. You only have 1 exam per quarter. Okay, so you'll have 4 exams all in all. Okay, because you have 4 quarters for the school year. Written works, this is 40%. What are your written works? These are write-ups. Okay, so these are different written activities. Okay, seat works. Now, your seat works are in the form of exercises that are found all in your books. They're all in the book. Okay, and then lesson tests. Lesson tests, these are going to be graded as quizzes. Okay. Performances. For your performances, that's 40%. Now, these are made up of not speeches. No, that's for grade 6. Okay. But your projects. Basically, your performances are your projects. So, these are your published works and spoken works as well. Okay, yes, you'll have some spoken activities. Procedures. These are going to be a quick discussion of how you would be submitting things online or through learning packets. Okay, so submitting works online. Important thing, class, is that when you submit your works online, please submit your works answered in the books. That's right, you're going to be answering your activities in your books, okay, and take a clear photo, a clear picture of them. Clear photo of your answered activities in your books. Now, please make sure, class, it's clear. Okay? Make sure that you submit a clear picture. Next, notebooks are to be used for added activities not found in the books. So, for those of you who might be asking, Sir Vince, why do we need notebooks when we already have things online and you're going to be submitting them already online? The notebook is there for you guys to be using so that, for example, there are going to be some activities wherein I would require you guys to answer in your notebooks, not your books. That's going to be the use. And for you guys also to take down important notes that I will discuss. Okay? Because I tend to have that. I tend to have additional information. I tend to have additional things that I discuss, okay, that are not found in the book. Okay. Submitting through learning packets, how would it look like? So for those of you who have availed learning packets, those of you with limited internet connection, okay, or to no internet connection, how would you submit things on through the learning packets? Number 1 is that please, when you're going to be submitting them, you're going to be writing the answers in your notebooks, and they're gonna be answers only. Okay, answers only. That means you're gonna just write the answer. But for example, there are some instances where, for example, it says encircle the word in the sentence, for example, or underline the word in the sentence, or box the word in the sentence. In those cases, I want you guys to please write the sentence as well, and then answer it already right there. Okay? Or, yeah, that one. Now, you could have for the first 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, okay, for the learning packets, for those with the learning packets, in the next 2 weeks, you could, okay, use a different notebook, another notebook, or you could have them in one whole sheet of pad paper. So you could have 2 notebooks, okay, one notebook for the first 2 weeks and then another notebook for the next 2 weeks, or just one notebook for the first 2 weeks and on the next 2 weeks submit them through your pad papers. Okay, so that's how it would look like. Now this is the format of how you guys would submit things. For your activities in the notebook, this is how the format would look like. Okay, so activities in the notebook, it would look like this. The week number will be there. Week number, please indicate the week number 1, for example, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write it there in the topmost middle part, and then on the topmost right part is going to be the date of when you've written down these activities, and then your activity name. So on the first line would be activity name, that usually is like exercise 1 or exercise 1A, or 2A, 2B. That's what you're going to be writing down there, and then enumerate that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Now, for the next activity, okay, leave one space first, and then follow it up with the next activity. Okay, that's how it would look like. So especially usually in 1 week, I usually give you more than two exercises to answer. So it would look like that. Okay, please indicate it there. Please put it there. Okay. Now, what about if you're going to be submitting them in your paper, in a piece of paper, in a pad paper? Okay, in the top part, in the very top part of your pad paper, see there's a big space, right? In that big space, I want you to indicate right there your name. Okay, and below your name, write the grade level and section. So that's 4A or 4B. In the middle, we're going to write the week number, and then in the top right part, write the dates, and then write Ella. Okay, don't forget, write Ella, so that we are able to identify what activity is the submitted work. Okay, next, activity name, same thing, just like with the notebook. The only difference there is that the top part. In the notebook, it's just week number and then date, but if it's for papers, do not forget include the name, grade level, and section, and Ella. Okay. Now, for those of you who are going to be submitting things with the paper, with write-ups, your write-ups in a paper, it would look like this. Okay, name and then grade level / section. Okay, don't forget that, and then that's activity title. So activity title, please put it there. Okay, indicated. Usually, I would mention, or I will say it in the PDFs, so not PDF, the PowerPoint presentations that I submit. I give you guys activity title will be there. And then to the date, and then Ella. Okay, date and then Ella. Okay, and then on the very first line, write the title of your works. Okay, write the title, and then when you begin your paragraph, skip one line. After the title, skip one line, and then start the paragraph there. Okay, and then when you continue writing, okay, when you reach the end of the line, okay, don't continue on the next line. No, on the next line, skip that line again, and then continue it on the next line. Okay, and then skip another line, and then continue, skip another line, or start a new paragraph or whatnot. Okay, always skip one line. The reason for this is because, class, that's where I indicate or I write there the different feedback, comment that I would be requiring from you guys. Okay, or I will be giving you guys. Now, with this, yeah, it would look like this. This is how it would look like. Okay. If you're gonna be submitting your write-ups in your notebooks, okay, it looks like this, except that in the top part, just put there the activity title and then the date. That's just it. No need the name, grade level, section, or Ella. No need. But everything else, it's the same. Okay. Now, why the strict format, Sir Vince? why do you give a strict format? The reason for that, class, is because I want you guys to start learning, practicing, training. It's a training ground for you guys to prepare you guys for what's to come later on. Later on, it's grade 5, grade 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and college, 11, 12, and then college. Okay? You are going to be required to use strict formats whenever you're going to be submitting works. Okay, so this is a training ground. This is training grounds for you guys so that it would prepare you guys. It would prepare you guys so that you are able to learn how to follow the strict format of things. Okay, and then you're able to use them properly. Okay, so this is training ground. Okay, now what do I need for ELA? What are the requirements for ELA? These are just a few requirements. I would require 1 or 2 notebooks. Just like I mentioned, you could use 1 notebook or 2 notebooks. It's fine. Okay, but please make sure that they are either OISYL notebooks or university notebooks. So university notebooks, class, those are the big notebooks. Okay. Yes, but for the what do you call this? The first one should always be an OISYL notebook. That's what we require. Okay. Next, the pens. Okay, I would require you guys to have 2 pens. One pen is a black pen for writing, and another is a colored pen. The colored pen will be any color except red, white, and black. Okay, because you already have a black pen. Okay, next, correction tape. That's optional. It's up to you guys. For you, when you're gonna be using a pen, that's up to you guys. You don't need a correction tape. Okay. Yes. Next, rules. What are the rules for ELA? During synchronous classes, so whenever we're going to have a synchronous class, okay, please make sure that you follow the guidelines. Mute yourselves. Make sure you mute yourselves when you're going to be entering the class, and turn on your cameras. Very important. Mute yourselves and then turn on your cameras. No eating while we're having a class. No eating. Okay? You could eat after. Usually you are given like around 10 minutes before the next class, but no eating during your class. And then connect early. Very important. Connect early. Okay? Now, we will be giving you more instructions for these. Usually, I'm not sure if it's going to be in a video format or it's going to be written down or it's going to be in a picture. But these are just a few important points that I'd like you guys to know. Number 2, late works is equal to 0. Important. Late works is equal to 0. Okay? Number 3, no contacting me on Fridays. I am a Jehovah's Witness, so I have what you call midweek meetings on Fridays, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. So no contacting me on that time, okay? And make sure that the photos are clear. Very important. Unclear photos are equal to, I would mark them down. So that means, for example, in your photos, it looks like you've written down an E, but because the photo is not clear, it looks like an O. I will read it as an O, okay? So that's how it would work. So please make sure the photos are clear, okay? And of course, respect. I respect you guys, and that in return, I would expect that you guys would respect me as well. Okay? That's all for ELA. I hope that we will have a fun school year. Okay? I hope this school year will be a fun one. I will also try my very best to give you a fun way of learning things. Okay? But just for now, due to the many limitations, these are just the things that we could do at the moment. So please bear with me as we go through all of these. Okay? So again, I am Teacher Vince. I hope that we would get along very well in this school year. Okay? Bye.